welcome to Freshly Served, the healthy vegan cooking show. I'm Heather, and tonight we're going to make a salad with some eggplant. Now, eggplant is not so nice when it's raw. Some of you might like it. Personally, I don't. So what we're going to do is we're going to cook this eggplant, which not only is going to make it taste better, but it also is really nice in a salad. If you're sick of salads, try putting something cooked in it, like a cooked vegetable or a cooked bean or a cooked grain is sometimes nice to add to a salad. So what I'm going to do with this eggplant, and before I start, I'll show you, it should be purple, and you want to feel the outside. If you feel a spot that is really soft, that's going to be bruised and you want to cut that spot out. But this one is, when I touch it, it gives a little bit, but it's pretty solid. Mostly what you're looking for is the color. If it's a green or if it's pale, it's not going to be as ripe. Now there are different types of eggplants. Japanese eggplants have a slightly different color, so if you're using that one, you're not looking for this vibrant purple color. Now what I'm going to do is, to shorten the amount of time that I'm actually going to cook this over the heat, I'm going to wilt it before I cook it with some salt. And what you want to do is dice this guy up. Dicing it will maximize the surface area that's going to be in contact with the salt, so it's going to wilt the most. So just the way I dice, I'm not sure if this is technically correct, I've never taken a knife skills course, but I cut it into slices, and then I'm going to cut along like this, so that it makes a dice. And you can do whatever size you want. Like I said, cutting it into dice is going to maximize the surface area that's going to touch the salt, and also later when we cook it. So when you dice it up, just put it in a strainer or a colander. Get this whole thing chopped up. Alright, so I use this technique fairly often, and I call it different things, but it's basically the same process. When I do it with kale, I call it massaging, because I actually get my hands in there and massage the kale to soften it. This time I'm going to call it wilting, because what I'm going to do is just sprinkle the salt over, and I'm using my finely ground sea salt for this one. And then I'm just going to toss it in with my hands to get this eggplant coated in salt. And then I'm just going to set it aside and let it wilt on its own. And I've got this over a bowl so that the water can drain off of the eggplant as it wilts. What happens when you put salt on here is the salt draws the moisture out of the cells in the vegetable and makes it soften. So this means that when we go to cook the eggplant, we can cook it for less time and it'll still be soft. The less time we cook it, the more the nutrients stay intact, the more the enzymes stay intact. So really get this salt all over this eggplant. Add as much as you want, because what we're going to do is, when this is done wilting, we're going to rinse it off, so you're not going to be eating this salt. Could need a little bit more. There's quite a lot of eggplant in here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's actually starting to wilt already. Softening up just a little bit. And I'll grab back all these little guys that escaped on me into the bowl. And then, like I said, you just want to set this aside about half an hour, 20 minutes if you're really in a rush, and then come back and we will saute it. Alright, so this eggplant has had about half an hour to sit here and wilt away. There's some water in the bowl underneath. It's not critical how long this goes on for. You just want it to soften up, and just keep in mind that the longer it sits with the salt, the less time you're going to need to saute it. What I often do when I get home from work and I want to do something like this is I just chop up the eggplant, get it going, and then I've got half an hour. I can go have a quick workout or check my email or whatever I want to do. So once this is wilted, like I said, we're going to rinse it to get the salt off there because we don't really need it. Okay. And then make sure it's somewhat dry. I'm getting my pan heated back here. And once that's hot, I'll add some olive oil and get this eggplant sauteing. All right, things are hot over here. Now eggplant need a little bit more oil than other vegetables because they suck up the oil like crazy. But I still don't use very much. I probably used about a tablespoon of olive oil here. And then what you want to do is mix the eggplant around so that it gets a little bit of a coating of oil. Now another benefit of wilting the eggplant before you saute is that the eggplant don't need quite as much oil as they would if you just threw them in the pan fresh. Because they've had a chance to wilt and release some of their juices, they're not quite as oil greedy. So get this stirred around. Occasionally you will lose an eggplant to the greater universe of the floor, but that's okay. If you have a clean floor, just toss it back in. If your floor is covered in dog hair, you might not want to do that. Or you could just rinse it off. Okay, so once those have gotten a touch of oil around them, spread them out evenly in the pan, and then you want to let it cook. Let the pan heat the eggplant, because that's how it's going to cook. So, next thing you're going to do, rinse out your bowl, because you're going to have some salty eggplant juice in there that might not be so tasty. Dry it a little bit if you wish. And then you can get the rest of your ingredients into the bowl. So what I'm going to do is I've got some chopped green olives and some capers here. And I've got quite a bit here because I like the flavor. But do however much you like. Green olives have less fat than black olives, but they do still have fat and they're quite salty. So they add a lot of flavor to this dish. And then what I'm going to do next is, I'm not going to add the lemon juice yet. I'm going to add that once I have the eggplant in here at the very end. But what I am going to do is get some lettuce. And all you do with the lettuce is just rip it up into bite-sized pieces. Do however much lettuce you like, whatever type of lettuce you want. It's always good to get variety. So get different kinds of lettuce, get leaf lettuce, get romaine lettuce. Iceberg doesn't really have anything going for it, so I wouldn't really recommend that one. Same thing on the eggplant, by the way. You can do this dish with like zucchini would be nice if you really don't like eggplant. But I would recommend trying it every so often. I thought I hated eggplant because when I had it, it wasn't cooked properly. Try it every so often and see if you like it. Same thing with all vegetables. Because the thing about vegetables is they're all good for you. And the best part about them is when you get a variety of them. And different colors of vegetables bring different nutrients. Eggplants are one of the few vegetables that are purple. So it's a good idea to get some of them in your diet if you can. And if you really don't like eggplant, maybe try mixing it. So have half eggplant, half zucchini, or some other vegetable that you like.